Town Council meets tonight. We get a look at what's on the agenda on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Thursday, May 22nd, 2014. I'm Sarah Mantle. Town Manager Tom Lynch will present the FY15 operating budget during tonight's Town Council meeting. Town Council President Jessica Rapp-Grassetti talked about the meeting with Barnstable This Morning host Sarah Colvin. She says the budget presentation is first on the agenda.
And he'll be presenting his budget message, which the manager does prior to discussion of the budget. And he will, I'm sure, will have the Director of Finance, Mark Milne, there as well to answer questions, but just giving an overall summary of the budget as presented and the direction of the town, and speaking about the strengths and of the town and focusing on certain areas. So we're looking forward to that. I understand there's about 30 slides, and we'll take about half to three-quarters of an hour for that presentation.
Town Council will also review the new FEMA flood maps approved by the Planning Board. President Jessica Rapp-Grassetti says this is a very important item.
It first came to the Town Council, and then we referred to the Planning Board for a public hearing on their part. It's come back to us. They voted unanimously to send it back to us and to accept it. This is important. This is a zoning ordinance amendment. And it's renaming and updating of the flood area provisions of the zoning ordinance. And this is reflective of the latest flood insurance rate maps. And we absolutely need to have this accepted because people that require flood insurance will need to, continue receiving flood insurance. And if we don't adopt that, then there's that possibility does not exist.
Also on the agenda are a number of community preservation funds. President Rapp-Grassetti says these items had a first reading during last week's Town Council meeting and could be acted upon.
We expect the chair of the Community Preservation Fund, Mr. Council, to be there, as well as perhaps some of his members to give us overviews of the different items, from everything from $2,000 for the historic Hyannis horse watering trough, which it was a trough that was situated in the east end of Hyannis, which was once called the hub of transportation in Barnstable. Actually, I think it still is the hub because we've got the train station there, the bus station, the ferry traffic goes by there. So this is a pretty busy area in town. So they want to put that horse trough, which they have pieces of the horse trough, I understand, and they want to assemble them and put them back in that area.
Very cool.
Yeah. Another one is for the Centerville Historical Society Museum. They're asking for $10,000 to help in the with their HVAC system, which is heating, ventilating, air conditioning system. And they've got a very spectacular antique clothing and costume collection. And that's very fragile and susceptible to damage by the elements and humidity especially. So the replacement, they're looking for a new compressor and some piping and whatnot.
Climate control, definitely.
Climate control, yeah, that's necessary for that. Another one that is coming before us from community preservation is they're looking for $193,849 for the Burgess Barn. That's located on 149, also known as Catuit Road. And that is for the barn, the Burgess House barn. We've just recently, in the capital improvement budget, we I think we appropriated about $54,000 for the replacement of the cedar roof on the house. This is for the barn, and this is the community preservation funds. And it's a salt box design barn, and it's in pretty rough shape. It has not had a lot of work done on it, so they're requesting that a new roof, the funds would be used for a new roof and siding and windows, and restore the entire barn and be used. I think right now it does house some an old meat refrigerator and a trolley and a couple of other things. I'm not quite sure what the use of that building will be, but and moving on to the preservation funds, the Custom House, U.S. Custom House, which is on Route 6A in Barnstable. There's an ask for about $224,000, $224,000, and that's for the restoration of the brick, repointing of the brick, the cast iron to be repaired. This was Cape Cod's first fireproof building, the
Really?
Custom House. Right now it houses the Coast Guard Museum.
Sure.
When I was a child, it was called the Treasure Museum, and now it is housed the Coast Guard Museum. But I believe that a grant has been submitted to Mass Preservation Projects Fund for $50,000. So if that's the case, then the amount will be reduced for this amount. But this needs a lot of work, an ongoing work, because we don't want water to infiltrate throughout the building, through the bricks. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. Moving on, we've got $100,000 for survey and design for the shared use pedestrian bike path easement, the Hyannis Ponds area, and that is a proposed pathway to start the design for the extension of the Cape Cod Rail Trail through the eastern portion of our town, we need to come up with a plan, and this is being required by Mass Department of Transportation, in order to be eligible for the $6 million set aside in state funds currently earmarked for the project. So it's going to be surveyed east of Mary Dunn Road and south of Route 6 to the Yarmouth Town line.
Great.
So, and that project could be started 2017.
A majority of new business items have to do with the FY15 operating budget. President Rap Grassetti says public hearings for those items will begin June 5th.
We'll probably do a little roadmap so that the public knows which departments or which budgets would be spoken to on the 5th, on June 5th, and then and actually I had asked my fellow councilors their availability in June with regards to perhaps holding a third meeting in June. We usually do the first and third meetings,
right,
and of the month, and so we may very well have a meeting on the 12th of May, or excuse me, of June.
Town Council meets tonight in the Town Hall hearing room. That meeting will air live right here on Channel 18. The full agenda can be found online at town.barnstable.ma.us. We'll be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we will chat with Marina Manager Eric Schufeld. He has tips on what boaters need to know before heading out on the water. Plus, we'll have our weekly arts and culture segment and all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.